Alright, what's up everyone? Today we have the Ghosts of Tabor weapon tier list. Now I am making this because I think I have a very unique opinion on the guns in this game, and I think people really get some value out of knowing which weapons they should be using and what they shouldn't be using. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into this right now. As you can see, we do have the tier list right above us. I'm going to go here and start in order with assault rifles, bolt actions, handguns, like machine guns, shotguns, snipers, submachine guns, just how it's laid out on the Tabor market. So obviously, let's get right into this. Alright, so I want to make this as quick as possible without making it too complicated. So obviously the first weapon here is the SKS. Now the stock SKS actually has some of the most highest damage out of the starter assault rifles. It's actually very good, although you're very limited to only iron sights and no attachments. So when it comes to the SKS, I'm gonna go ahead and grab it here and put it at a B tier because the weapon is actually very nice when it comes to early game. This is definitely a weapon you will use when your traders are all level 1, you're starting out. This is definitely going to be one of those go-tos 100%. Alright, on to the next one. We have the M16A2. M16A2, I'll tell you right now, I'm just going to go ahead and put it there. M16A2 is an S tier weapon. I promise you, once you get that ACOG scope unlocked and you understand how to use it, M16 with an ACOG, AP ammo, and a suppressor will take out anything, I promise you. Very underrated. You just have to know what you're doing with it. If you want to go back and check out my M16 videos, I've used it a couple of times. I'm telling you, this gun is almost a two-shot, 3-shot. Depending, it doesn't even matter if they're tier 6 or not. AP is AP, it's going to destroy everything. So M16 S tier 100%. Now getting to the next weapon here, AK-74U. AK-74U is a decent weapon. You can have some attachments on it, good sights, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it at around the B tier, just because the weapon isn't as strong as other ones. It takes a little bit more bullets to kill. Obviously if you have AP, it's gonna do what it does, but maybe the fire rate isn't up there as much as other weapons that, you know, like an Asval or something. It's just going to perform a lot better in more situations, especially when it comes to range. All right, then we have the AKM. AKM is very strong, so I'm going to go ahead and put the AKM A tier 100%. AKM is a weapon that's really good early wipe. I can almost compare it to an alpha if you really want to. It just minus the attachments that you can put onto the weapon. It's definitely good. Definitely has a little more recoil than most weapons, but that's about the only downside I can think of here. Alright, let's go over to the Tapco Sks. Tapco Sks is actually very underrated. It's not definitely one of the best weapons in the game. Semi-automatic, but you can get very long range. You can play very close range with it. A lot of attachments. It's very versatile. So Tapco Sks, I'm going to go ahead and put this at an A on the list because I think this weapon is very versatile. In game with AP ammo, it works very nicely. And where is the Tapco Sks on this list? Right here. Here's a Tapco Sks. I'm going to go ahead and put it at an A tier, alright? And you know, you might think, well, that's insane. Tapco Sks is A tier while the M16 is S tier. Yes. Trust me, I promise you. I told you my list is going to be a little different from what you see from other people. You know, I promise you, but just stick with me here. Alright, next weapon we have here is the AUG. Actually one of my personal favorite weapons. Now, I'm not going to say this weapon is S tier. Definitely more of a B tier weapon because you are limited to the scope that you have on it. It has a built-in grip and you can only put a suppressor on it. That's pretty much about it for the attachments, but it does do very well with damage when it comes to AP. You have very good long range shots. When it comes up close, you do have the iron sights on the top of the weapon if you really know how to use it, but other than that, it's got a downfall. You know, the fire rate isn't as fast, a lot of recoil, especially if you're full autoing this weapon too. So, you know, close range, other guns are definitely going to outshoot it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the AUG in a B tier. Alright, next weapon here, L85A2. Now this weapon has been pretty mediocre for the most part of the game. Also, the only attachment that really works well with it as far as sights is an ACOG, or you can try to go canted with it, and it has a lot of recoil. This gun kicks like crazy even when you do have, you know, a good grip on it. So L85 is definitely a weapon I'm going to go ahead and put in C tier. It's not one of those weapons I would really consider using. It's just not one of them, you know. It's really not. All right, so the Galil here is a very good starting weapon. The Galil can do anything, long range, close range. Doesn't have, you know, a fast fire rate like most weapons, but it will get the job done for pretty much any situation. Put some AP in it and it's completely fine. It's going to destroy just like any other gun. So when it comes to the Galil, I'm going to go ahead and put this at an A tier. Now the only reason why someone would probably not like the Galil is just because of the iron sights in the front are really pushed forward. Depending on your playstyle, that might be a problem for you. But other than that, Galil, we're gonna put this at an A tier. All right, sliding over on the list here, we have the AK-74. Now the AK-74 is all right. I wouldn't say it's one of the best weapons, maybe a little less damage than the AKM. It's kind of one of those weapons that's just there and there's really no reason to really use it. But it's a weapon that's there, it works. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on an A tier. I believe this is here. Actually, I'm putting it on B tier, right below AKM. I believe AKM is better than AK-74 when it comes to damage wise. They're pretty similar, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that on a B tier for sure. All right, next weapon here is a G3A3. Now this may be one of the most broken weapons in the game. You can't put any grips on it, so it does have a lot of kick. But this weapon here, it doesn't matter if you're using FMJ or AP, it's going to shred through any armor anyone is using. You're most likely shooting 2 bullets in max, and you're going to take out someone with T4 and below, maybe one more bullet, and you're getting T5 and up, and you're knocking them out. So G3A3, in my opinion, is disgustingly broken, but it takes skill to use. It definitely takes skill to use. It's not one of those guns you're just gonna pick up and go crazy with. It has a lot of recoil. You're gonna have to learn how to use it. So for this weapon specifically, we're gonna go put it at an S tier. This weapon is 100% S tier, so let's go ahead and put it there. All right, moving on to the list, the FAMAS here. Now the FAMAS is a weapon that's not really too versatile. You can put an ACOG scope now as of the newest update, but it's not really anything that's going to get the job done in the situations you really need it to. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in C tier. There's really not much to say about it. If you use the FAMAS, you know it's pretty limited to what you can do with it. So we're going to go ahead and put this at a C tier. All right, going down the page here, we have the Scar. Now the Scar, very nice weapon, a little lower on the fire rate than most of the other weapons here, but very versatile. You can put stoner mags on it, any sight, any attachment, very nice. This weapon with AP is just disgusting. The recoil is very nasty. Some people would say this weapon is bad this wipe. I completely disagree. I think this weapon has been dominating forever. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the Scar at an S tier, 100%. I don't think anyone would have, you know, any problem with that. Scar is definitely one of those guns that's gonna get the job done. All right, M4 carbine. Now the M4 is very nice, versatile. You can put stoner mags, drum mags, you can put sights, suppressors. Now the only thing that's maybe a downside about the M4 is the recoil. The recoil is still pretty iffy, but it does have a very high fire rate, so that's pretty nice. I'm gonna go ahead and put it at an A tier though. I think the Scar is just better just because simply the recoil. There's less recoil, and I think that gets a job done for a further range, while the M4, when it comes to a further range, you might have a little bit more problems with it. So for the M4, we're gonna go ahead and put it at an A tier. All right, next weapon we have here is the AK-5C. AK-5C is just, it's one of the top guns in the game. I'm pretty sure most people know that. The AK-5C and the Alpha are like the #1 spray meta weapons. You know, you just put a hollow sight on it and just spray at anything you see. The recoil is very, very nice. It can do multiple attachments, Stanag mags, and drums. So definitely S tier, no debate about that. There's really not much to say. AK-5C is an elite weapon, 100%. Okay, now we have the SG-552. The SG-552, in my personal opinion, is one of the better weapons in the game. The damage maybe isn't there, doesn't have the most attachments to it, but it's really, really fun to use. I'm not gonna say it's the best weapon in the game, but it definitely does get the job done when you need it to. But I am gonna put it at a B tier just because, you know, the lack of attachments that you can use with it. But overall, it is a very nice gun, but other weapons definitely outperform it stats wise, so I'm going to go ahead and put it at a B tier, although it is definitely one of my favorite weapons in the game. Alright, next up here is the Stoner 63. Now this is the weapon that absolutely no one in their right mind would buy or use. It's literally only cool because the Stoner mag, which you can only find in raids, so basically buying the gun itself is pretty pointless. I don't see a real reason to use it. The attachments are very limited. You can only put a suppressor, I believe, so it's not something that's really, really worth using. Stoner, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in C tier because I don't see a real reason to use it. Okay, now we have the G36. The G36 is very, very good. The G36 can almost do anything any other weapon can do. The recoil is very nice. I could almost compare it to an AK-5C, to be completely honest, and it's a little cheaper than that. The only problem you would have with this gun is maybe if you're using, you know, an ACOG scope or something with a little more magnification that has a little more height over bore, so you have to aim a little higher when you're shooting up. But other than that, when it comes down to attachment wise, close quarter combat, long range, it can do everything. You put AP, it's gonna shred. So G36, very nice. I'm gonna go ahead and put it at an A tier. You can't put drum mags on it that I'm aware of, so maybe that's the only downside or so, but other than that, it's a very good weapon, so put this in A tier here. All right, now we have the M1A Sass. M1A Sass is obviously very, very disgusting. Very nice gun. It's probably going to two-shot most T5, T6 body armors, maybe 3, I guess. But obviously AP ammo just shreds anything. You can put a variety of attachments on it. Only thing bad about the gun is the ergonomics. You know, the gun is very, very long. Sometimes it will drag against the floor. Maybe if you're a freehander, you don't experience that much. Most gun stock players will probably understand, you know, the gun's really long. It's not the best when it comes to ergonomics, of course, but the weapon is disgusting. It shreds. Maybe close range, it's not the best option, but long range to medium range, it's going to destroy everything. I'm going to go ahead and put it at an A tier. I'm not going to put this at an S tier, but it does have a very, very high damage. It's just that when it comes to close range, it's probably not the best option. So let's go ahead and put this A tier. Alright, now the Asval. Asval is the most disgusting weapon in the game. I personally think it's better than the AK Alpha. Asval has an insane fire rate. It just smacks anything long range, close range. You can put a scope on it, you can snipe with it, you can do anything. Asval, 100% S tier. It's just a broken gun. You put a hollow on it, you just spray everything down, and yeah, I'm sure we all know this, so Asval is going to go to S tier. Alright, now the next weapon is the AK Alpha. Currently don't have it unlocked yet, but I have plenty of them. AK Alpha is just, it's the top of the top in the game. I'm sure it's intended that way. Obviously it is level 5 to unlock it. It's pretty broken. You can do anything with it. I'm obviously just going to put it S tier. There's not much to say. Everybody knows it's the big dog in the game, the AK Alpha, S tier weapon. I don't think there's really a debate about that. Alright, so let's get into the bolt action rifles here, which are very disappointing. Now we also have the DLC weapons here, which I think don't belong in the game at all. They're all absolutely garbage and have no use in my humble opinion. But we're not here to talk about that. This list doesn't even cover the DLC weapons. So first of all, I'm gonna be very quick with this. All right, D tier, D tier, D tier, and that's it. They're all D tier. None of them are really good. The Tika recently got an update. You can put a scope on it with AP, and it is pretty nice. You can one-shot some people if you get a good headshot, maybe if they're like T3 body armor and below. Other than that, it's not worth bringing in. You can't put a suppressor on it. I honestly think these are some weapons that have no place being in the game also. It's one of those weapons that just hinders new players. You know, they're coming into the game and they have weapons like these to choose from that are absolutely pointless. There's no reason to be using any of these guns at all. Like, just throw them away. If you find them, put them in the trash can. It's just not worth it. Remove it from the game. Delete it from your game files. Just, yeah, all of that. All right, now we have the AWM. The AWM is an amazing sniper. Now this bolt action is disgusting. If you watch any streamers like, you know, Pwn1 on Twitch TV, you'll see he destroys with the AWM. AWM is disgusting. It one-shots everything. Now sometimes you can get a hand shot and they'll, you know, hit marker, but other than that, the AWM is just going to get the job done anytime. If you really wanted to, you can put a red dot on it and be disgusting close range also. But AWM, I'm going to go ahead and put A tier. Obviously, it's not the best for all situations, but for what it is, it's a sniper and it gets the job done. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in A. Alright, now we're on to the handguns. Okay, so obviously we do have the new DLC one here, which isn't covered in the list, so we're going to go ahead and skip over these DLC weapons. I haven't had too much experience with this one anyways, so go ahead and put it on the tier list. So first of all, we're going to make this pretty quick here. Makrov, D tier. The Ruger, which I believe this list probably doesn't have the updated version, we're going to go ahead and put it on a D tier straight out the gate here. Now the C1911 is very decent. It's actually a very good pistol, although it doesn't have attachments like the DLC weapons there. I believe one of the DLC Glocks has about the same stats as the C1911. It just doesn't have it's just that you can use attachments on it. Well, this one you pretty much can't. The C1911 is actually a very good pistol though. I'm gonna go ahead and put it at a C tier for, you know, pistol wise. Okay, I believe this will go here. All right, next one we have here is the Glock 17. Now the Glock 17 is actually amazing. If you didn't know, you can put the I believe the 9mm drum mag on it from the Vector. You can put suppressors, red dots, lasers. This gun will actually smack almost anything if you catch them off guard. So 100%, I'm going to go ahead and put the Glock at an A tier because this weapon can pretty much do it all. Okay, USP 45, very nice. You can put any attachment on it. I'm gonna go ahead and put it at an A tier next to the Glock. I don't see a reason not to use it. It works very well, very versatile, and it's just as good as any other pistol in the game. So let's go ahead and put it at an A tier for pistol wise. Now next up we have the Makrov, which I accidentally kind of mistaken for the C1911, but I went ahead and put it here also in the C tier. It's not as good as the other pistols. It lacks a little bit of customization, but that's about it. It's alright. Then we have the Deagle. The Deagle here is disgusting. It's probably almost a one shot to the head, two shots to the body from, you know, some T3 or lower. Very, very nice. I'm gonna go ahead and put this at an A tier. It can pretty much do almost anything, you know, a Glock can do. Maybe the recoil, the kick is just a lot more, so that's going to be the only problem you'll have with it. You just got to get used to that. But other than that, the Deagle is for sure going to be an A tier pistol, no doubt about that. All right, scrolling over, now we have the FN57. Now recently you've been able to find this gun in raid almost everywhere. Like, it's been in raid everywhere. I don't know if anyone's been experiencing the same thing, but it's definitely out there. It's very accessible, very customizable, very, very nice. I'm going to go ahead and put that in A tier. Now understand, I'm not comparing pistols to assault rifles or pistols to shotguns or bolt actions. I'm comparing pistols to other pistols, all right? So basically what I'm saying is, Out of all the other handguns, it's in an A tier for the handgun category, alright? So we're gonna go ahead and put this at an A tier also. Alright, I'm not saying this is as good as the Galil or the M4 or the M1A Sass or anything like that. When it comes to pistols in general, it's at an A tier for that category. Alright, we're gonna go over to the light machine guns. The bar is just absolute trash. I don't have much to say about it, but I'm gonna put it at a C tier because it's better than bolt actions 100%. So if you find a bar, pick that up over a bolt action for sure. All right, let's get into the shotgun. DLC shotgun, completely trash. Don't even use it. I'm not saying it's completely trash. Obviously, it does have the double shot function, which is definitely gonna one-tap people, but reality, I don't think it belongs in the game. So I'm not even going to speak on it. Saiga 12 though, very nice shotgun with slugs. You can snipe with it. Drum mag you can put on it. You can put almost any attachment on it. It can be used close range, long range, very versatile. Saiga 12 definitely deserves to be an A tier shotgun. I'm going to go ahead and put it there now. Okay, here we have the Benelli shotgun. Benelli is very nice. Now you can't put a scope on it, but I believe it's one of those guns that's not really meant to have one. You can put a laser or a flashlight, and I think that's sufficient enough. Has a very high fire rate, close range, you're going to smack with it. Obviously, when it comes to long range, you don't have a scope as much as you do with the Saiga. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it at a B tier. If you do catch someone off guard with it, it's very nice. They're going to go down regardless, I promise you. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this at a B tier for the Benelli. All right, we're gonna go to sniper rifles here. Now the Dragonuv I think is pretty pointless. You can't put a suppressor on it. It gives your position away. There's no grips. You can only put a scope. It's not really versatile. The damage, it's all right. It just doesn't have the most use case in the game, you know? It's one of those weapons you get in a purple card and you just throw it out the window because what's the point of taking this with you? You know, it's not really gonna do much. I think it's in the game just to be there. It's not really viable. Yeah, 8,000 Krunas, it's not worth it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it at a C tier, only because it's better than a bolt action. You know, if you got a chance to pick this over a bolt action, it's like, yeah, you're gonna choose a Dragonuv for sure. All right, submachine guns. Now the Lutty, you can kill people with it. Disgusting recoil, not really worth using. Early game, if you pick it up, I'd definitely go and look for another weapon on your way while using it. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it at a D tier. It is not really worth it. What more can I say? All right, we have the MP40 here. MP40 is actually very nice. You can control the recoil very good. Early game, it has a very nice iron sight and it's very cheap and simple. MP40 for close quarter combat maps is definitely viable. You just gotta play it smart, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and put it at a C tier for SMGs, but it is very viable if you use it in the right way. So let me go ahead and put this at a C tier. All right, MAT 49, one of those weapons that's it's all right. It's a scav killer or a phoenix killer. You use this to kill phoenix or so, drop it. As far as killing players that have any type of decent armor, it's not really worth it. It's very accessible around the map just from phoenix, but that's about it. Other than that, I'm just going to go ahead and put it at a D tier. It's not something that's really worth picking up. All right, CX8 Storm, very customizable. You get it early game. You can put grips, scopes, silencers. This weapon is very nice in my opinion. I'm gonna go ahead and put it at a B tier. For SMGs, it's definitely a B tier, very customizable. Early game, I've used this to farm all my Spectre and Minty quests, so very nice. Go ahead and put this at a B tier for SMGs, 100%. All right, moving forward here, we have the agram, if that's how you say it correctly. Definitely not worth using. Only thing you can put on is a suppressor. Can't use scopes. Has a built-in grip that's not really the best. Iron sights are pretty mid, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this at a D tier. not a weapon that you really want to pick up and use. You don't really even find it in raid, and there's no point in buying it from the shop at all. So D tier definitely. Alright, Mac 10, pretty much the same situation here. It's one of those guns you don't really want to be using. The iron sights aren't the best, the ergonomics aren't the best. You can only put a suppressor. It's not really something you want to, you know, bring into a raid. So we're gonna go with D tier. Alright, now the Thompson. The Thompson isn't that good. If you do get a 100-round drum mag on it though, hey, you might be doing something with it, you know. I'm not gonna say it's the worst SMG. It's definitely bad, but it's better than the ones we just named previously. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it at a C tier only because there's a 100-round drum mag on it. That's the only reason. So we're gonna go ahead and put that there. And now we're gonna get into the MP9. MP9 is actually very nice, very versatile. With attachments, I guess you can say. You can put scopes on it, you can put a suppressor on it. It does have a built-in grip, but it's only very good for close quarter combats. Other than that, you're not going to get much use out of it long range. Has a decent fire rate. It is 9x19 ammo, so you're not going to be doing the most unless you do have some AP. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and put this in a C tier. Alright, scrolling over here, we do have the MP5. MP5 is one of those weapons it's alright. If you put a suppressor on it, you're close up, you can do some damage 100%, but of course it's a 9x19 gun, so it's not going to penetrate much. Definitely going to need some AP, which is not worth putting in an MP5. I don't see a real reason to run it. I'm going to go ahead and put it at a D tier. There's not much to say about the weapon. Alright, next we have the UMP. Now I think the UMP is definitely one of the better SMGs in the game. I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to put the UMP at an A tier because I think the UMP is very, very nice. It has very good damage. You put some AP on it, you have multiple attachment rails, it's gonna get the job done regardless. So UMP 100% for me, in my opinion. I'm going to put this in a B tier. The weapon works. Obviously long range is not going to do the most, it's an SMG, but B tier for SMGs 100%. Alright, now we have the PP Bizon. PP Bizon is a pretty decent SMG. I'm going to go ahead and put this in B tier also. The standard clip is 100 bullets in the mag, which is insane. So I'm telling you, this gun, you only need to bring in maybe 2 or 3 mags and you're completely fine. It's actually a weapon I'd consider buying from the market. It's not something, you know, that I just see and leave it alone. It's definitely viable, 100%. Use it on Makrov or Silo, Underground, something like that, and it's definitely going to get the job done. Recoil is definitely a little kicky, but other than that, PP Bizon, I'm going to go ahead and put that in a B tier also. Alright, now we got the Vector 10mm. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the Vector 10mm and the 9mm both at an A tier for SMGs. Some people say that the 10mm is better than the 9mm. I honestly think they're both completely very good weapons. You can use drum mags with them, you can put nice attachments. They're very, very nice. So for both of these weapons, 100% A tier. Yeah, definitely A tier, and they have a very high fire rate. So definitely both vectors, I'm going to say A tier for both of them without a doubt. Alright, now we have the MP7 here. A lot of people, you know, they like the MP7. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think the recoil is a bit much because it does have the built-in grip, but there is a drum mag for the MP7, which is very, very nice. You can put scopes, suppressors, flashlights, lasers, the whole 9 yards. So it's a very nice weapon. I'm going to go ahead and put it at a B tier just because of that recoil factor. You can't put a grip on it. It kind of throws you off a little more than the other SMGs, but I don't think it's a bad gun. Definitely viable, and it can work against, you know, high tier armors for sure. Alright, now we have the ppsh. This weapon and the Thompson are pretty much one and the same. Both have a 100-round drum mag with them, only have iron sights. It's not much to do with it, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in a C tier. There's really not much to say about it. if you pick it up, you know, you're early wiping the game and you maybe have a drum mag on it, definitely go ahead and use it. I don't think it will disappoint you if you use it in the right way. All right, and the very last one we have here is the P90. Now I don't use the P90 much. It's very limited on attachments, but it does have a very fast fire rate. All right, if you're using this on underground or silo, you are going to smack. Now you have to understand, you have to use all these weapons in the proper situations. You know, if you use a P90 in the proper situation, I think it's going to get the job done. It's not a bad weapon. Fire rate and damage is very high. So I'm going to go ahead and put the P90 at a B tier. It's definitely not a go-to SMG for me, but it definitely works 100%. It's a reason why it's tier 5 in the first place. So go ahead and put this here at a B tier. Now we have some final weapons on the list here that I kind of skipped over. Now these two pistols right here are basically Glocks. They're just as good as the Glock, so I'm going to go ahead and put them A tier here. Boom. This UMP is the boss UMP, slightly a little bit more damage, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it B tier also. It is very nice. Let me go into the Barrett here. Now the Barrett is one of those weapons that, you know, it's very good, but it's not something you just want to go ahead and buy. It's kind of like a troll meme weapon. The Barrett is cool, but the ergonomics are very bad. Like the M1A Sass, it's very long, especially for gunstock players. It's going to be dragging against the ground. It's not something that I would personally use, although it doesn't have a bolt, so you can just spam, and you can put a suppressor on it, but it's just overly expensive. It's not something that's worth taking into a raid unless you're just trying to mess around and have some fun. But obviously it's gonna destroy, you know, it's gonna smack everything. So for the Barrett, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it at a B tier just because of the cost of the suppressor. It's tier 5. It's not really something you want to pick up. You might as well just use the AWM. You're gonna get the same job done. So Barrett, I'm gonna go ahead and put it at a B tier just because of those small factors. All right, now we have the MPX here also. MPX is definitely a very nice SMG. It's definitely on the higher end. Now you can't put a grip on it, but you can put a scope and a suppressor. I think it has a little more longer range than most of the other SMGs, but other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in a B tier because the recoil can really get there. Close quarter combat, you won't notice it much, but other than that, it only has one type of mag you can use. It's 9x19, so you're definitely gonna need some AP ammo to penetrate anything. I'm gonna go ahead and definitely put this at a B tier. All right, and then we have the Boss SKS here. Boss SKS is all right. I believe it has room for one attachment or so. It's not something that's the best weapon in the game. You can only get it obviously from Kertec, but it's fully auto and it does smack. I'm going to go ahead and put it at a B tier. It's obviously not something you really want to just keep farming for to really use, you know. It's all right. And then we have the VSS here. I completely overlooked at it, but the VSS, I would put it in the same boat as an Asval. I'm not gonna lie, once you do level up and you get the 30 round mag for the VSS mag, you can pretty much do the same thing as an Asval, but there is no grip on it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this at an A tier because it's already suppressed. It's very nice because I believe you get a maybe Spectre 3 or so. So already having a suppressed weapon that you don't have to buy a suppressor for, and being able to put a scope on it, and then eventually being able to upgrade the magazine size is very nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this at an A tier. All right, and this is my tier list. Go ahead, take a good look at it. Now you're probably saying, whoa, M16 S tier is insane to have it there. Bro, I'm telling you, use the weapon. Put an ACOG scope on it and use the weapon. You will not be disappointed. Close range, long range, you don't need a grip for the weapon. Suppressor and ACOG with AP, I'm telling you, use it. You get it early game, level 1, you get ACOG scopes, maybe tier 2. Yeah, I'm telling you, early game, do not neglect the M16, especially on island. You need to be using those magnified scopes on island. But that's it for my tier list. If you have any questions, or if you think this tier list is absolutely bogus, go ahead and leave a comment. I'll gladly listen to you. But other than that, that's about it. If this video was enjoyable to you in any type of way, hit up the comment section, tell me how you feel, hit the like button, and if you really want to show support, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys later.